Now we come to Ambassador Gautam Bambawale. Ambassador Gautam Bambawale is a former Indian ambassador to Bhutan, Pakistan, and China. He is currently distinguished professor at Symbiosis International University in Pune, where he's based these days. He headed the India Culture Center Berlin and was posted in Washington, D.C. during the India-US nuclear deal. He worked in Prime Minister's office, but most important, Ambassador Bambawale is one of the few Indian diplomats who know China so well. He has this rare insight into China these days. Ever since the crisis erupted, he's seen on all television platforms, is virtually writing for all major media organizations, publications. So I'm very thankful to him for finding time to be here at this important discussion. Gautam, if I may ask you, we'll focus on your opening remarks, which is this. I mean, other speakers have spoken a bit about this before, but maybe you'd like to dwell more in detail. How will the exclusion of China, the world's second largest economy, from G11 affect the efficacy and credibility of this meeting? Isn't it better to have China inside the tent rather than outside it? And linked to that, of course, President Trump has said that this is all about, that the G11 is being formed or to have a discussion about the future of China. Again, do you think this will become a kind of a full-blown anti-China club or counter-China club? China has reacted very strongly to the very idea of G11. What's your take? Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manish. And let me also say that it's a great pleasure to be with you this evening and with all the other panelists and the participants of this webinar. Let me, if you permit me, first let me start with India itself and reiterate and repeat a point which has been made by many of the other speakers. We have been arguing, especially in multilateral organizations, that these international multilateral organizations do not reflect the world of 2020. They reflect the world of 1945. So here, with the expansion of the G7 to the G10 or G11, is an opportunity for India to play a role in international politics and international economics. And I'm delighted that India has grabbed it with both hands. We should not worry too much about who is included or who is not included or who is excluded. As far as we are concerned, we should grab it with both hands. Let's hope it's a more permanent structure. As Ambassador Wadhwa rightly pointed out, at this point of time, it is not very clear or apparent. But let us hope that this becomes a permanent structure. And as one of the largest economies in the world, either the fifth, sixth, or seventh largest economy of the world, I think it is natural that India will be invited, along with other countries like Australia, South Korea, Russia, to this grouping. To come to the China question, of course, as you know, Manish, a few years ago, there was this big discussion about whether China is a responsible stakeholder in the international system. And I think the answer today in the summer of 2020 is very, very clear and very, very apparent to all of us that China is not merely, is she not a responsible stakeholder? She's actually what I can call an irresponsible stakeholder. And for all the reasons that previous speakers have already spoken about, the way they have reacted to calls for studies into the origin and spread of COVID-19, the way they have come out swinging aggressively through their wolf warrior diplomacy. This has also been seen in their aggressiveness in Hong Kong, where a new national security law has been implemented since yesterday, the 1st of July, 2020. They're doing the same thing in the Taiwan Straits. They continue to have a trade and technology war with the United States. And of course, they have now made what their intentions are on the India-China border very, very apparent. let me take a little bit of time to dwell on this because this is a topical issue. Look, as far as India and China are concerned, it was very, very clear that one of the prerequisites for the rest of the India-China relationship to move ahead was maintenance of peace and tranquility in the India-China border areas. By making their military moves on the ground this summer, the Chinese have very clearly indicated, not only to India, but to everyone else across the world, that they do not desire a balanced, forward-looking relationship with India. So I would say that they have made the choice, and now India will definitely respond and react. We will reassess our China policy. We will recalibrate our China policy. And the banning of 59 apps is only the first step in what I see as a series of steps which are coming down the pipeline. I have argued, and I would hope that one of those measures will be the banning of Chinese firms from participating in India's 5G trials and rollout, like many other countries in the world have done on national security grounds and national security considerations. But that is only one. I hope that there will be a wider discussion in India about what measures to be taken. And I completely agree with the point that these measures, this reassessment has to be done in a calm, rational manner so that we come to conclusions and implement policy accordingly. If China is not included in this expanded G7, call it a G11, and I hope that Russia does participate in it. I think they have every reason from a geopolitical and geostrategic consideration to participate in the G11, in the expanded G7. I think we should not worry too much about who is in the tent and who is not in the tent. We have all our partners with us, and we are going to expand our relationships and partnerships with these countries. In fact, I would argue that strategic autonomy, which means taking decisions in your national interest, demands that India strengthens its partnerships immeasurably and unambiguously with our partners, whether it's the US, whether it's Australia, whether it's Japan, and perhaps even with countries like South Korea and Indonesia. So I think I've answered your questions directly, frankly, and I think I'll stop there, Manish.